بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. And welcome, dear viewers, to the Sharjah Media Corporation's program entitled The Virtues of Islam. Previously, we have been discussing some of the virtues of Islam, some of its good qualities, some of the things that the Muslims can expect from Islam and that the people can expect from Islam as they join it, become Muslims, as they practice it. One of the qualities we've been discussing is the fact that the one who sent Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He Himself loves Islam. And that is proven, as all things are proven from Islam, by the Quran and from the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because from the Quran, there is a verse, which is verse number 3 of Surah Al-Ma'idah, which says, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum. And this day have I completed your religion for you. Wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati. And I have completed for you my favor. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. And Allah says, وَرَضِيتُ, I am pleased with Islam as a deen, as a way of life for you. So this shows in this verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself, He loves Islam, and that He loves Islam for those who practice it. Today we want to talk about entering into Islam. How should one enter Islam? Specifically, the obligation to enter Islam totally, to enter Islam perfectly. Now, this is found in the Quran and found in the Sunnah. So let us begin to talk about this topic. First of all, the word Islam or Al-Islam. The Islam which is obligatory to enter today is the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At times, when the Islamic text uses the word Islam, it's referring to the religion of all the prophets. In Islam, according to Islamic beliefs, every prophet and every messenger brought the religion of Islam to their people. This is Islam in the general sense of the word, and not the legislation of Islam as we know it today. But in the general sense of the word, the followers of Noah were Muslims, as well as the followers of Abraham, as well as Moses and Jesus. They were all Muslims in the general sense of the word. However, their legislations were different. For this reason, Allah says in the Quran, وَلِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شَرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. And to each one among you, meaning to each prophet, we have prescribed a law and a clear way. Meaning, every prophet was given a legislation and a clear way to do that legislation. However, the religion was one. To this fact, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, as narrated by Abu Hurairah, the prophets are paternal brothers. Their mothers are different, but their religion is one. And their mothers here means their legislation to carry out the monotheism that they came with. The Quran says, Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam. Verily, the religion with Allah is Islam. From a text of Islamic religion, there are two categories of Islam. So when one is reading the Quran and sees the word Islam, it means one of two things. One, Islam in the general sense. This is Islam that every messenger has in common. This is what Allah is pleased with for every messenger. Islam, which is specific. That's the second category. This is Islam with which Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent. It is characterized by its beliefs and characterized by its legislation known as Sharia. The definition of Islam, a total definition of Islam, a comprehensive definition of Islam. Because you hear people say Islam is love. Sometimes you hear this. You hear people say Islam is peace. And in fact, it does have a meaning of peace. People say other things about the meaning of Islam. A total comprehensive definition of Islam, which is proven by the book and proven by the Sunnah, which all messengers brought to their people, is Islam. هو الاستسلام لله بالتوحيد وانقياد له بالطاعة وبراءة من الشرك ومن أهله. Islam is to submit to Allah with tawheed. And those who have studied Islam, who are interested in Islam, know that Islam means submission. It is not just admission, but it is submission. It's to submit to Allah with tawheed. Monotheism is the way to submit. And to comply, meaning to obey with it through obedience. And to be free of shirk and its practitioners. This definition is composed of 3 sentences. All of them are found in the Quran and in the Sunnah, which include these 3 sentences, which define Islam. They include belief, and they include righteous application, and they include freedom from shirk, meaning polytheism, paganism, and the practitioners of those things. This is the religion of all messengers. It contains the following principles: to submit to Allah with tawheed. Every messenger came with monotheism to their people and was commanded to worship Allah alone without associates or partners. And the people throughout the world who worship in monotheistic religions, they will tell you God is one. 2, what messengers call their people to do: to comply with Islam through obedience. That means that the messengers call the people to abandon their vain desires and obey the commandments and avoid all prohibitions. All messengers did this. They told their people that their vanity is a stumbling block to their worship, and that they should leave their vanity, and instead they should obey. And they should abandon all things that are prohibited by the religion. The message of every messenger included obedience to that messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. We sent no messenger but to be obeyed by Allah's leave. So messengers called their people to oneness, the oneness of Allah. And then they were called to obey, and they learned to obey by obeying the messenger that was sent to them. 3, to be free of polytheism and the practitioners of it. This portion of the definition of Islam includes the rejection of false gods, hatred of polytheism and paganism, and the hatred of the practices that come from worshiping false gods, because this worship is dedicated to other than Allah. Allah says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And verily, we sent among every ummah, every nation, to whom messengers came, a messenger proclaiming, worship Allah alone and keep away from what is known as Taghut. And Taghut is an Arabic word which means the one who has transgressed bounds. In this case, it is a transgression of bounds to worship a false god instead of the one creator of the heavens and the earth. It is to worship gods that were made up by the worshipers themselves instead of worshiping the one who has the right to be worshipped. Allah says, قَدْ كَانَتْ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ إِذْ قَالُوا لِقَوْمِهِمْ إِنَّا بَرَاءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. Indeed, there has been an excellent example for you in Abraham and those with him, who when they said to their people, verily we are free from you and whatever you worship besides Allah. The Quranic statement, Abraham, or in Arabic, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, Ibrahim and those with him. The verse says, Ibrahim and those with him, means the messengers who were upon the same religion as he was. When they said to their people, when the messengers who came from Allah said to their people, means when the messengers said to the various people that they called to Tawheed. This is evidence for the third sentence of a definition, freedom from paganism and the practices and practitioners of it. Allah's message to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the most complete in submission to Allah with Tawheed, the most complete in the details of compliance to Islam through obedience, and the most complete in being free from shirk and the practices of shirk, meaning polytheism, paganism, worshiping false gods. Therefore, the obligation to enter Islam perfectly, the obligation to enter it totally, means the obligation of submitting to Allah with Tawheed. And this makes everyone who submits with Tawheed, he is clear about why he's submitting and clear what he is submitting to, as well as leaving deviant religious innovation, pagan acts of worship, and every belief that is rooted in paganism, whether it be large or small. It is an obligation to submit to Allah with Tawheed and give up all these things. This is the meaning of entering Islam kafatan, or completely. Entering into Tawheed means entering all aspects of Tawheed. As the book and the Sunnah point out, the aspects of Tawheed are three. That is, Allah is the Lord, the oneness of his lordship, and the meaning of that. That means that no one has the right to be worshipped except Allah, and the oneness of his worship and the details of that. And that Allah's names and descriptions that belong to him should only come from the Quran and come from the Sunnah and the details of that. And remaining cautious, also it means remaining cautious and guarded against its opposite and staying away from paganism in all of its categories. A person must obey the Messenger ﷺ and remain distant from the practitioners of shirk. The word Islam comes from the Arabic verb aslama, meaning dakhala fi silmi. He entered into silm, meaning he entered into Islam. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dkhulu fi silmi kafa. O you who believe, enter Islam perfectly. And this is in the Quran. How should we enter? we should enter into it perfectly. And this is in verse 208 of Surah Al-Baqarah. The Islam that is obligatory to enter has two descriptions. It has a description of its beliefs. It is clear about the beliefs. Two, the descriptions of its sharia, its legislation, the way the beliefs are put into action. Entering into Islam perfectly means coming into it in its entirety without attempting to choose portions of it and leave portions of its belief and application. The Quran says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Are you going to tell the people to invite the people to good and you yourself forget? أَتَأْمُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ أَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Are you going to believe in some and disbelieve in others? That's not allowed in the religion. A person cannot choose and pick what he's going to believe in and what he's not going to believe in, and then assume that what he picked is enough Islam for him to be blessed by Allah. So in other words, he's going to make up what he's going to take and what he's going to leave and say, well, Allah will be pleased with that. No, submission means a person submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best he can, totally. There are portions of Islam, if abandoned, it is unbelief, such as leaving Tawheed or practicing major acts of shirk. And then there are forbidden acts. If the servant commits them, then he has done something that is obligatory to avoid, but not unbelief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَنَّ هَذَا صَلَاتِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ فَتَفَرَّقَ بِكُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. Inshallah, in our next episode, we'll deal with this verse. My name is Talib Abdullah, and I'm here for the Sharjah Media Corporation. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.